Welcome to today's deep dive, everybody. We're digging into some fascinating material from RoleCatcher. It's a career development platform, and we're going to explore a career path you might not expect, becoming a rental service representative for those massive machines you see on construction sites.
Yeah. And trust me on this one, it's way more dynamic than it sounds.
I bet. I mean, we're talking about an industry that's rapidly changing,
Hmm.
right? What with autonomous excavators and AI predicting, like, maintenance needs and stuff, it seems like a rental service representative needs to be pretty savvy.
Totally. It really is a fascinating blend of, technical know-how and serious people skills. You're not just dealing with machines, right? You're dealing with the clients, their projects, their deadlines, and let's be honest, sometimes their anxieties too.
Okay, so paint a picture for us. When I hear rental service representative, to be honest, I kind of picture someone in a hard hat, just handing over keys. What's the reality?
It's so much more interesting than that. Imagine a client needs to excavate for like a foundation, a really good rental service representative. They need to be figuring out, okay, is it clay soil? Is it bedrock? How deep are we going? What's the scale of this project? All of that factors into recommending the right excavator.
Wow, so it's not just, here are the keys to the bulldozer.
No, not at all. And then you think about rental duration, even things like insurance, permits, all of that comes into play too.
Wow. So there's some serious responsibility riding on these recommendations.
Absolutely, because a construction project hinges on having the right equipment at the right time, right? And if there is an issue, guess who they're calling? You.
Makes sense. You're the one who... Okay, speaking of clients, I noticed that RoleCatcher really emphasizes the importance of customer service in this role. What makes that so important?
I mean, these projects, they're high stakes, right? Delays cost money. They can
Right.
even impact safety. Clients, they need to know they can rely on their rental service representative.
So you need to be a people person who also understands the ins and outs of some really powerful machines. I'm starting to see why this is way more dynamic than it might appear at first glance.
And we haven't even talked about, new models, sustainability concerns, even just like economic shifts.
Right, because that all impacts how rental services operate.
Right.
So, okay, we've established this role as a lot more than meets the eye, right? But what about those folks out there who are thinking, okay, this sounds cool, but where can I go from here? What does a career path look like in the construction equipment rental world?
Well, RoleCatcher actually does a great job of mapping out a pretty clear progression. So you might find yourself starting as an assistant, right?
Yeah.
Getting to know all the ropes. And then from there, you can move up to managing rentals kind of on your own, independently.
Right, like that profile we saw, the junior level one.
Yeah.
They were talking about knowing exactly which excavator a client would need just based on their project.
Yeah.
Like down to the soil type even.
Exactly. And that's the thing. As you start to gain that experience, right, you might even find yourself specializing in like a particular type of equipment. Maybe you become like the crane expert or, the drilling rig guru.
I could see that. You build up that niche expertise.
Exactly. Or you could go in a totally different direction and move into like a management position.
Oh, interesting. So you could go from like advising on rentals to actually leading a whole team.
Exactly. Like shaping the rental strategy of the whole company.
Yeah.
There's some real leadership potential there.
I see that. So you've got these different paths you could take. But let's talk about this tech elephant in the construction site that we mentioned before. RoleCatcher seems to be all in on technology. They've got all these AI-powered tools built into their platform, right? Tell me more about how that works.
Oh, yeah. That's where it gets really, really interesting, especially I think for someone who's like serious about pursuing this career path. Because think about it, right? You've got to tailor your resume. You've got to practice your answers for those tough interview questions, and you need to really understand what those employers are looking for in the first place. And RoleCatcher helps you do all of that with AI as like your guide.
Okay, so is it kind of like having your own personal career coach? Available like 24/7?
Yeah, pretty much. And it can get really specific too. Like, let's say you find a job posting that really piques your interest, right?
Yeah.
You can actually feed that posting into RoleCatcher, and the AI, it'll analyze it, and it'll compare it to your resume.
Oh, wow.
It can actually point out any gaps in, your skills or experience. And then it gets even cooler. It can suggest like really specific improvements you can make to your resume to make you stand out.
That's incredible. So it's like having a secret weapon in today's job market.
Exactly. And it's not just about the resume either. Remember those like nail-biting interview questions we were talking about earlier?
Oh, yeah.
RoleCatcher, they've got you covered there too.
It's like having a secret weapon for those interviews.
Totally. Like you can actually record yourself answering those practice questions.
Oh, wow, really?
And the AI will actually analyze like everything, your delivery, the content of your answers. It's like getting a sneak peek behind the curtain, understanding what makes a good answer versus one that's, well, not so good.
That's amazing. It's almost like RoleCatcher is giving you the blueprints to succeed in this industry, but instead of, building a bridge, you're building a future.
And just like in construction, that preparation is key, right? You wouldn't just start a project without having the right plans, without the right tools. And that's really what RoleCatcher does, I think. It gives you those insights. It helps you practice and really understand what you need to know to make it in this world.
So we're coming up on the end of our deep dive here into heavy equipment rental. What's the big takeaway for our listeners today?
I think it's this. This industry, it's about a lot more than just steel and concrete. It's about people. It's about solving problems. And more, it's about really understanding how to use technology to your advantage. If you're out there and you're looking for a career that's hands-on, client-facing, and always keeps you on your toes, this just might be it.
And what's so cool is, with a tool like RoleCatcher, you don't have to go in blind. Their platform really gives you that unique edge in understanding the field, practicing those skills we talked about, and hopefully landing that dream job. So if you've ever been curious about the machines that actually build our world, maybe it's time to see about building your place in it too.